Now, we have a very special high five for you today on the programme. It's these guys.
One love for the mother's pride, one love for the times we cried, one love, gotta stay alive, I will survive, one love.
A high five, but there's only 4 of them, and 3 of them came into the studio. Blue were one of the biggest boy bands of the noughties, with hits like that one, All Rise, One Love, and Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word, which featured Elton John.
Yeah, that was my favourite, actually. And if you, like me, were devastated when they split, we've got good news for you, because they're releasing their first album in 7 years, and they're about to head out on tour. So Duncan, Antony and Simon joined us earlier, and I started by asking what it was like to be back 20 years after they first formed the band.
It just feels great to be back here, especially after the pandemic, because we made the album during the pandemic. So, yeah, just very, 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 very honoured to be here.
And what was that experience like, Anthony, of making the music in the pandemic? Because we've spoken to so many artists. It must be strange not to be in a room together, to do everything's remote.
Absolutely, Dan. I mean, we started recording the album, or we went to songwriting camp in January 2020. And it was a case of, if we write and something comes out of it, great, then we can go and do an album. I co-wrote the first single, Haven't Found You Yet. The boys went, literally, right, now's the time to start recording. Pandemic hit, and obviously with all the rules and stuff, we had to go in individually. And as you said just now, it was so weird, because normally we'd be doing an album, we'd be collectively together, harmonising, giving notes, you know, do that Costa or do that Dunk or do that side. And it's a collective thing, isn't it? It was just a shame that we never got the chance to work together during this album.
Now, I know over the years you've collaborated with some really big names, haven't you? You must have some great stories along the way.
We've been lucky. We've worked with a lot of people, from like Tom Jones, obviously, to Elton and Stevie Wonder. But I don't know. What do you reckon?
For me, I love Elton and Stevie for different reasons, but they're great. But Tom, when we did the Queen's Jubilee and we had to go and rehearse and meet him for the first time, I remember him growing up with his music, because my dad loves him, watching him. And then the choreographer's going, right, Sir Tom, this is what you do. The boys are going to go round you. They're going to go doing that with the mics. And he's just standing there going, OK. And I'm thinking, is he going to be all right on the night? When that red light went on, bang. I mean, you saw the star that he was. Crazy. What about you?
Do you know, I really love working with Stevie, because, again, growing up with Stevie, and just, like, when we weren't filming, you have those moments where you're just waiting around for them to sort out the lights and everything, and he was just, like, singing to us, wasn't he? And we were just chatting.
Well, I'd have to say Sir Elton, because if it wasn't for Sir Elton, we wouldn't have had a #1 in 40 different countries around the world. And the fact that Sir Elton did it because he was in love with the All Rise album.
And what about your relationship? Because it's hard, isn't it? Over 20 years to keep that relationship going. Is the friendship different? Has it matured? How does it work?
It definitely has matured. Yeah, matured like fine wine.
Blue cheese.
I think when we first started, we were like 4 rabbits in headlights, enjoying life. As the years have gone on, we do this now for our families, to support our kids, our families, and to give them a future in years to come. And obviously we've got to do a job like the rest of the UK and the people. You know, we've got to pay bills, mortgage, and everything else. So we're just happy doing a job that we love.
You mentioned family. Is that why member number 4, Lee's not here? Is it?
Yeah, he's just given birth to a... Not him personally.
No.
His missus just...
That would be a story.
You know what I'm saying?
They just got a brand new baby. They got 2 under 2 now, and as they don't live in the UK and they don't have a lot of family there, so you know he's spending the time now with his baby, and then he'll be on tour with us in December.
It doesn't actually matter today. There's only 3 of you, because I don't know if you know this, but we have a super fan in the building. Tessa Chapman.
You did promise me you wouldn't say this.
Tessa's party piece when she was a little bit younger was... Why didn't you explain, Tessa?
Well, I do remember distinctly being a student, and our Sunday morning hangover involved watching MTV at the time at which Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word seemed to be on loop.
Go on then.
I'm so sorry.
Go on then. What have I got to do to make you love me?
What have I got to do to make you care?
Yeah!
Who needs Lee? Just leave it.
I mean, actually, Dan, if you sit here, you can...
Lads, we wish you all the best with the album, with the tour. It's a real pleasure to have you in. And like you say, 20 years, still going strong.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
And if you need her, you know where she is.